is a passionate young man. His teachings are amazing, they are inspiring, and they are very, very practical. He focuses on corporate leadership and capacity building in business, career, and life as a whole. He's a lover of God, his principles, and humanity, and is married to the quintessential Olubanke and blessed with two covenant kids. Now, hello, sir. Ah,
Good afternoon. Thank you. It's a great honor
yes, we
to
can
be
hear you.
here.
Yes.
It's a great honor to be here. It's one thing for you to want to make meaning in the life of people, and it's another thing for you to really put in that effort, right? Because it's a different thing to say, I want to do this, I have a desire to do this, but that's the easier thing to do. The more difficult part of it is actually doing it, and that's what you're doing for us today and tomorrow. So I really want to say thank you. I tell people that when you put out an event and you say, "Oh, this is an event. It's free. It's a free event," and 200 people registers, for instance. Now, the first step of registering is free and it's easy. The more difficult thing to do is to actually show up for that meeting. So a lot of people register, but they do not actually show up for meetings. So every time I have people that show up for meetings, I say thank you to them because it's an option, it's a choice they made, to be there. And after showing up, I beg everybody that shows up at meetings to always do the thing that they learn at the event. It's a different thing to show up, it's a different thing to do what you actually learned, right? So, whatever we are going to discuss together tonight, I want you to please put them in practice, right? I'm a capacity building strategist. I try as much as possible everywhere I find myself to ensure that the people that come in contact with me, they do more, right? They do more of whatever it is they desire to do. So I see entrepreneurs and I help them to establish the things they do. I see young people share dreams with me, and I create systems and structures through which they can actually execute those things. So tonight we'll be talking about capacity building and your way, finding the courage to evolve, right? So let's start tonight by saying that every man is an embodiment of systems and structures, right? Every man is an embodiment of systems and structure. You, as you're listening to me, you are called a person, but that same person you are have several systems running within him. So what makes you healthy is not just because that's who you are. What makes you healthy is because the systems running within you are healthy, right? So we have the reproductive system, we have the respiratory system, we have the excretory system, we have all these systems running within us. And God did it in such a way that it doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't have to take you to the restroom. He has created a system through which the food you eat, the normal one, the one that is applicable to your health, goes into your system. The one that is not necessary, the system pushes them out, right? And the way the reason the system does that is so that you can stay healthy another day, right? So the moment a system breaks down, there is a problem somewhere. The moment a system breaks down, something happens. So the same thing with, I don't know the people I'm talking to tonight, but I know there will be people here that have projects, that have products they sell, they have business, they are business owners, or you have an existing system, which means probably you are an employer of labor or you are an employee working in an existing system. Wherever you find yourself, always understand the fact that any organization that will be successful, because success means different things to people, I'm going to explain that, but any organization in quotes that would be successful must have several systems that are working together perfectly, right? So every man, I need you to understand that you are an embodiment of systems and structure. Your bones, without your bones, you will not be able to stand like this. Your bones give structure to your body. Imagine if the bones, all the bones in your system are removed. You know what happened? the flesh will come down like a garment. It will just come down like a wrapper. That's it. But it's your bone, the structure that makes sure you keep standing, and the system that runs within makes sure that your body is healthy. Right? I'm going somewhere, so just follow me. Now, if you see a 5-year-old girl, do you know that a 5-year-old girl has the potential to give birth to a child, but a 5-year-old girl does not have the capacity to give birth to a child? The moment a baby is given birth to and she comes here as a female, there is a potential within that child to get married, to give birth to children, to get pregnant someday. But because that child is just 2 years old, she doesn't have the capacity. Though the potential is there, but the capacity is not there. So I see a lot of people that are gifted, a lot of people that are inside an existing system or creating their own system. They are striving and they are struggling, and they keep saying to me that the economy is bad, Nigeria is bad. Really, we might, yes, I agree, because I know quite a number of things that we should have in the nation that we do not have, right? But even if you move out of this system that is not working and you move into a sane climb, you move into a sane nation where their system and economy is working, if you do not have the capacity to bring forth that potential in your business or in your career, you will still not have it, right? So it's important we note that. Let me say that again. A 5-year-old girl has the potential to give birth to a child or to children, but she doesn't have the capacity to give birth, right? So you might have ideas and you're asking yourself, well, how come I'm struggling and this guy is doing the same thing I'm doing? How come I'm striving and it seems it's not working? It's because there's something missing, and it's likely to be the capacity to do it, right? Difficulty does not mean impossibility. If there's anything you want to take out of here today, please take that and put it down. Difficulty does not mean impossibility. A lot of time I've seen entrepreneurs say to me that it's impossible because we've been on this for a couple of years and it's not working. We've been on this for a few months and it's not working. We've put in our investments into all this venture and it's not working. Really, difficulty does not mean impossibility. The question I want you to ask yourself right now is, some things you look at and you say to yourself that this is not possible. There are thousands of people doing that same thing you called impossible. They are doing it and they are getting it done. So does it mean that it's actually impossible? Because one thing I tell my staff when we're having meeting is the fact that don't come to me and tell me it's not possible. The question, listen, the moment your mind can comprehend it, that means it is possible. I'm coming to the fourth part of us where we think we talk about the mental, we talk about social, the spiritual, and the physical, all the part of capacity building we need to build. But here, let me tell you, the moment your boss, the moment a colleague, the moment a partner, the moment someone, human being, someone alive can come up to say, let us do this. The moment that statement can be made, let me tell you, whatever it is they said can be done, right? That's a mentality any man that wants to be dauntless, any man that wants to manifest must have, right? You must have the fact that there is absolutely nothing that is impossible. We all know the Wright brothers. I share this story a lot. We all know the Wright brothers, Oliver and Wilbur. Both of them made the aircraft. People say they are the first guys to make the aircraft, but it's a lie. They are not. There was a professor. He was a mathematician. He was a professor in mathematics. He started the aircraft. He actually made it. He flew the first time. He flew the second time, but he didn't go a long distance before he fell and crashed into the sea, right? The guy was just discouraged that U.S. Army gave that guy $50,000. I'm talking about over 100 years. $50,000, $50,000, right? And this guy couldn't make it happen. But these other guys came and they said, this is possible. Listen, let me drive this in again before I go ahead. Difficulty does not mean impossibility. A lot of time we face things that are difficult and we come back to conclude they are impossible. You can never build anything worthwhile if you own up to the fact that some things are impossible. I say it again, the things you see as impossible, they are things hundreds of people somewhere are doing effectively, efficiently, seamlessly, effortlessly, right? So don't come back and say it's possible, it's impossible. Always ask yourself, how do we make it possible? Right now, if you face anything called difficulty, there are two things you need to do. Number one is put more effort. Anything difficult needs more effort, right? More effort in the sense that it could be people, you could bring in more people to support what you're doing. You could increase the energy you put into what you're doing, but whatever it is that is difficult needs more effort. Sometimes it might be concentration you need, more effort. The second thing anything difficult needs is more time, more time, more time. So when you are faced, you lead a team, you are a part of a team, wherever you work or whatever it is you do, right? When you find anything difficult, let your team know that we just need to put in more effort. We need to put in more time, right? More effort, more time makes difficult things possible, right? Okay, so let's go ahead. Now let me share a story. There was a young man that he was given some items, very, very large items, TV, electronics, everything he needed. So he had a store. He was supposed to put those things in the store. He inserted those things inside the store. Then he came to a conclusion. He got to a point where he realized that not all the items will fit into the store, right? So he was left with two options. Don't ever say you don't have choices. I'm going back to that story, but let me say this because someone might need this here. Life will never leave you without choice. Life has never left any man with just one choice. Life gives a minimum of two choices. Life does not make decision for us. We make the decision, but life gives us choices, right? So always that at the back of your mind. Life will always give you choices, but you will make the decision. So this guy packed everything into the store. Then he realized that the space the store was filled up. He still had some items left outside. He was left with two choices. Number one, leave the items outside, forget them, because he had enough in his store. Number two, break down the store and expand the store so that the store can take more. Two options. Every man in life and everybody on this call, let me tell you, you would have been faced with these two options, or you are faced with these two options, or you would be faced with these two options tomorrow. One point in our life or every day of our life, we are faced with these two options. We come up with responsibilities. We come up with tasks and projects that demands more than the space we have, that demands more than the time we have, that demands more than the resources we have. Listen carefully. If you live your life today or this year, and the things you are facing this year are not challenging you than you were challenged last year, then you are not doing anything new. You are not doing anything new. You are not doing anything productive, because every day you wake up, let me tell you the truth. I'm a believer. I want my future to be easier than my past. But the truth is, I want to have more responsibility tomorrow, right? I was leading 10 people yesterday. Tomorrow, I should not be leading 8 people. I should be leading 25. Right? And if you lead 10 and you lead 25, you should know you cannot have the same demand. The demand of someone leading 250 people is different from someone leading 25 people. Are you with me? So as much as you pray that God make my tomorrow better, you should always understand that the way it makes it better is it gives you more responsibility. So we are always faced with this responsibility. Now, for the guy, the easier way out, the easy is, it's just so simple. It's to leave the stuff outside and stay with the space he has. But it is more difficult breaking down and expanding. But that's what makes life better. And that's where a lot of people are stuck. You're at work, there are a lot of more responsibilities, you don't want to take it. Just leave the responsibility. I am okay this way. Just leave that. I'm okay this way. You can never grow. You can never manifest. You can never. You are fearless. You are fearful. You are not fearless if you go that way. That's not the best route to go. So a lot of us, look at yourself and be very honest with yourself. You know, I don't know how you live your life on a daily basis, but the point is, if you are this kind of a person that you would rather leave the items outside because the space you have will not contain it, then you are going nowhere far. You can't be a leader. You can't be a successful entrepreneur. It's not possible, right? So this guy left the items outside instead of breaking down and building. Let me tell you here, and let me give it to someone here, that enlarging your capacity will take a breaking down. Enlarging your capacity will make you lose some things to gain some things. And when I say lose some things, yes, in fact, you might lose your friends to gain some new friends. You might lose some money to make more money. You might lose some comfort to gain some comfort at the end of the day, right? So enlarging your capacity requires most times a breaking down and an enlargement, right? In the Christendom, in a religious setting, we say it's a breaking forth, right? A breaking through. But in this real sense, in this sense where we are right now, I need to let you know that it requires a breaking down for you to be able to make progress. So ask yourself honestly on this call, of someone watching this video, say to yourself that, am I like that young guy that always runs away from doing more? Am I that young lady that would rather sit with what she has instead of going for more? We've always been taught that we should be satisfied with what we have, but I have a book on it's titled How to Start and Grow Your Business. And the first point in that is dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction. If you are satisfied with the way you are, you will never make any change. Hunger is the gift of God to men. That's what Dr. Von King will always say. Hunger is the gift of God to men. The moment you are hungry for more, you go for food. But the moment you are still at ease, you are not hungry, you won't go for food. And I tell people that in life, there is eat in the kitchen. And that's it about life. There is eat in the kitchen. But if you can't withstand the heat, get out of the kitchen. But anybody out of the kitchen cannot produce food. That's just it. So if you want the heat, you can stand the heat, then you can stand in the kitchen. And everything about life is about production. It's about the kitchen, right? So it's important that we pay attention to these things. All right. So let me go ahead and share with you four part of your life or of your world where you need to expand capacity. Once you can build these four parts I want to teach you, you can be successful in anything you want to do. Four, just four. So let's start with number one. Number one is your mental capacity. Mental capacity. I've seen a lot of people that are very lazy to think. Thinking is a great job. Let me tell you this. Thinking is a great task. Just sit down in your room You can play music, lower the volume a bit, and start thinking, start imagining things, start planning things with your mind, with your thoughts, with your mental strength. Just start planning. Do that for 1 or 2 hours. You see how tired your body will be. Mental capacity. Thinking is a lot of job, and a lot of people do not want to do it. And this is the point. Failure is not just failure. Failure starts with laziness. Quite a number of people do not know this, but I'll break this down now and explain it. Failure starts with laziness. Laziness produces excuses. The moment you allow laziness, you feel so comfortable pushing what you should do today till tomorrow. You give yourself excuses. And the moment you build excuses, listen to this. A man that is good at making excuses will never be good at making anything else. A man that is good at making excuses will never be good at making anything else. You know why? Because excuses will never make you try. Excuses will never make you try. And whatever you don't do consistently, you will not be good at. So excuses stop you from doing those things consistently, so you lose touch on them. You are good at giving excuses, so you are very good at making excuses for yourself. So laziness is the first step to failure, right? But here we're talking about mental capacity. So let me ask you, you want to manifest, you want to evolve, you want to be known, you want to make a difference, you want to create influence all around. Let me ask you the question: how mentally aware are you? How much of yourself do you know? How much of your environment do you know? How much of your environment do you know? I call it the environment. How much of your environment do you know? How much of yourself do you know? Mental capacity. Mental capacity. I was privileged to work with a woman. She has an NGO. I saw the things she was doing. I sent her a message then that I would like to help her structure some things. Interestingly, she lives in my town. So she gave me an appointment, went there. I went there, helped. I sat down with her, listened to her dream, listened to what she was doing, listened to where she wants to be and all that. After she finished, I told her I'll be coming every Friday. I'm talking about 5, 6 years ago. So Fridays, I'll go to her house. We use she has this large space in her compound where she hosts the kids, young girls, of 5 to 8 years, so she was doing the training, but she needed someone to help run the administrative part of it, the system, the structure of it. So I started doing all that. Now, to cut the story short, one day the husband came from Abuja, and I met the husband that day, and she introduced me to the husband that, oh, this young man is the person I've been telling you, he's been helping us for months, blah, 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 blah. So I sat down with the husband in the living room, and we spoke for almost 2 hours, that the woman had to come inside to tell the husband that, please release this guy for us. He came here to serve us, not you. And by the time we finished, the man told the wife that, I'm liking this guy already. What happened? I didn't know I was going to. It was more like an interview. So I didn't even know. I just got there, for the normal duties I wanted to do and all that. Then he started talking about national leadership, started talking about national development, started talking about HR, started talking about several things. The man, is really, really intelligent, very vast. So, but I could cope with him. I could catch up with most of the things he was saying, and I could bring in my own opinion, my own suggestion, and my own ideas. So he saw me as someone that is intelligent, that could work with him. A lot of us, we are not paying attention to our mental strength, to our mental capacity. How much do you know? Now, I don't say you should know everything, but you must know a bit about a lot of things, right? There's what we call the depth of knowledge and the breadth of knowledge. Let me say that again: the depth of knowledge and the breadth of knowledge. You have to have depth in a particular thing. There must be something you know so deeply that you are a professional in that thing. But you must have breadth of knowledge that covers several other things. An organization called me a few weeks ago Utiva, they called me a few weeks ago to do a training for them on financial management. I did it. I did it. As a matter of fact, I finished the training and I was proud of myself. I'm telling you, I was very proud of myself. During the lockdown last year, an organization reached out to me. They wanted me to train their teachers. It's an international organization that sees to the well-being of teachers in Nigeria, in Africa, as a matter of fact, to train their teachers. I did. I did effectively. They asked me questions, I answered them, and they said, how come I know so much? I told them I'm a teacher. I'm not just teaching pupils and students in our institution. I'm a teacher. What I'm doing right now, I'm teaching. I'm teaching, right? I'm not just teaching kids with uniform. That's just the difference. I teach. So really, mental capacity. Because of time, let me keep running. That's one. Second thing you've got to pay attention to is your social responsibility. How responsible are you amongst people? How responsible are you? Listen, nobody survives in isolation. Absolutely nobody. There's no way you can survive on your own. I'm still trying to wrap my hand around the idea of what we call self-made millionaires. Really, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. But this is the point. No matter what you do, you need people around you. There are three kinds of relationship. You have the superiors, you have the contemporaries, and you have the subordinates. Listen, if you can manage these three relationships very well, where we miss it most time is we look at the subordinate, the people under us, and we think they are just there to serve us. Yes, it's okay, they might be there to serve you like you serve those above you. But the point is there are several things you can learn from these people, right? So social responsibility is important. How responsible are you socially? Because you know more than I do makes you feel like you're superior to me. That's stupidity. Someone asked me on a call like this and says to me that, am I saying that there's nobody that gets to a point in life and knows everything? I said, nobody knows everything. And I can say it anywhere boldly. Nobody knows everything. And I say it again, nobody knows everything. So the lady that asked that question is a religious person, and she said to me that, okay, what about that DGO? Pastor Adeboye of Redeem, that he knows so much, he knows everything. I said he doesn't know everything. With due respect to Daddy Gio, if Daddy Gio has a legal case tomorrow now, he's going to get a lawyer. He can't go to the court. He's going to get a lawyer. Daddy Gio, go and make your finding. He must have a doctor. Daddy Gio cannot treat himself. He must have a doctor, and whatever the doctor says to him, he does. He has an accountant. Whatever the accountant says, he says, okay. So really, nobody gets to a point in life and feel you know everything. We need people. We need people. You can never be successful without people. So how socially responsible are you? What's your capacity to communicate? What's your capacity to contain people? A lot of people tell me I don't have friends. Forget it. You are not friendly. That's just the point. You don't have capacity to hold people. You started the year with 10 friends. You end the year with one. You had a problem. It's not the people. You are fighting this today, you are fighting that tomorrow. You make enemies everywhere and you say people are difficult. People are not difficult. You are actually ridiculous. How socially responsible are you? How well can you communicate with people? How well can you communicate with people? How well can you move with people? How well can you hang out with people? A lot of people get to events and they see people hanging out and they just feel like, I like being on my own. Forget it. It's not that you like being on your own. It's either you are lazy mentally or you are not just socially responsible, right? So it's important we understand we have the superiors, we have the contemporaries, we have the subordinates. When you get to a point in your life that you have no contemporary, you have no friend, you are actually on your way to being in a lot of mess. You have nobody you're attached to up there, nobody doing the things you want to do, nobody you ask questions, nobody you attach yourself to. You're actually going to get into trouble. And if you have nobody you're pouring yourself into, then there's fire on the mountain. Remember this: your own roof is someone else's basement, right? Your own roof is someone else's basement. So whatever you think you know right now is the base of someone else's knowledge. So you might say, "Oh, wow, I know this, I know that, I know that, I know that." Oh, yes, I celebrate you for knowing it. But let me remind you, whatever it is you know right now is the base, is the ground floor of someone else's. Your ceiling is someone else's ground floor. You get that? Your roof is someone else's basement. Thank you. Yeah. So mental capacity, social responsibility. The third one has to do with physical capability. Physical capability. How capable are you? How fit are you? This is even wide. The way you dress, the way you smell, the way you walk, the way you pose yourself outside, your posture, your composure, it matters a lot. You can't get. I realized years ago when I was younger, I didn't have a car. I go to people's office. I was always trying to meet wealthy men, always trying to meet great men and all that. I'll pick my handkerchief, put it in the right side of my back pocket with my wallet. I'll pick a small phone that has little bit of oil or something or polish or something. I'll put it on the left side of my back pocket. Any office I get to and I'm about to enter into the office, I look for a corner where nobody sees me. I pick up my phone in the left back pocket. I clean my shoe and I step into that office. Let me tell you one thing. Successful men, when you are coming in, they want to see your shoe because they know how you came. They want to see how you're dressed because they want to see who you are. They want to know who you are. Now, physical capability, how fit are you? A lot of people eat recklessly. They don't care about their health. They don't know what they eat eats them up. A lot of people, when I was quite younger, I could walk quite a distance without feeling anything. All of a sudden, I realized I don't walk anymore. Get out of my house, get into the car, drive to the office, in the office, do everything I need to do, or drive to a meeting or drive to church, then enter the car, pick my kids in school, then come back home, park the car, then done for the day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All of a sudden, I realized I'm not doing myself so good. So I started taking a walk in my estate at night. In the evening, I'll just take a walk intentionally because I want to be fit. I'm a teacher. Sometimes I stand for 3, 4 hours teaching. I stand for 2 hours teaching, right? I talk for long. So it's important that you pay attention to your physical strength. How healthy are you physically? How well do you dress? Do you have a style for your dressing? Are you conscious of the things you wear? Are you conscious of the perfume, the cologne you use? Are you aware of all this? Are you conscious of it, or you just feel like, no, I don't need all that? Really, you do, because people actually see you before they even perceive what you carry. And listen to this statement: you can never make first impression the second time. You can never make first impression the second time. First impression is made the first time. And once you lose me the first time, you lose me. That's important. So the first, mental capacity, the second is social, the third is physical, and the fourth actually is spiritual. The fourth is spiritual. Spiritual sensitivity. Listen carefully. I am a believer. I don't know the people on this calls. Someone might come up to say there is no God. Yes, it's your faith, it's your belief, it's your perspective. But this is the point. I believe there is a God. If the skies can stand without falling down, I know there must be something old in the skies. If a plane in the sky can fall down, but the sky itself cannot fall down, I know there's something old in the skies. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Every man, even those, Oprah Winfrey will say that there's no God or something, but she knows there's something that is bigger than human beings. She knows there's something that is bigger than nature. She knows. She says it. She says it. Listen to all these guys. They tell you there is no God, but they know there is something that is just bigger than our imagination. It's just bigger. They know. They know. So I've never been in a point in my life where I feel there's no God. There is God, right? So spiritual sensitivity, because the world in which we live in actually thrives and revolves around transaction. Now let me break that down. In the beginning, God made trees. Trees will give us oxygen. We human beings, we give carbon dioxide. The trees will take the carbon dioxide and they release the oxygen. We take the oxygen and transaction, transaction. If you don't give the oxygen, you don't get the carbon dioxide. They give the carbon dioxide, they take the oxygen. The sky drains the water from the ground into the clouds. When the clouds get filled up, the cloud pour it down, the sun comes out again, drains the water again, it evaporates and goes back there. So everything is working as a system because it's based on transaction. Something gives to get, right? So the sky gives the water, the sun brings the water back to the sky. If you don't give, you can't get. If you don't transact, you need to offer value. If this is the world in which we are, the world in which we are, the moment you get anything without giving, that's fraud. That's scam. When you get value without giving value, that's scam. Because the system, the structure of this world in which we are is not rooted like that. It is rooted in a way where I give, you give, I get, you get. If I don't give, I don't get. If you don't give, you don't get. That's how it is, right? So it's important. There is the spiritual part of it. You must be spiritually sensitive. So mental capacity, social responsibility, physical capability, and then your spiritual sensitivity. Listen carefully to me. No matter what you do, you work in an existing system as an entrepreneur, or you work as an entrepreneur, whatever, wherever you work, I want you to know that if you can build these four parts of you, enlarge the capacity, right? You can actually manifest anywhere, any part, anything you do in this world. It's very essential. I want to drop the curtain here. My name is Bolaji Babalola. I'm a capacity building strategist. I help entrepreneurs and leaders to do more. I think there will be questions. I can answer questions if there are questions. Tiwa, your mic is
Thank you
muted.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so
I
much.
can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing, an amazing session. Okay, so there was something I wanted to say as you started speaking, or when you got to a point. I wanted to say that you need to write a book about it.
I need to.
Write a book.
I actually
I am
have.
serious. I wrote it
I have a
down.
book. I
I
have
wrote
a
it
book in
down.
the offing. 14 days MBA is coming
Okay,
out this month of April. I have.
that's
I
amazing.
have. I have another one. It's called "Get It Right or Get Out." Get it right or get out.
Okay,
That one
okay,
will be out
okay.
before.
So they are coming this month.
14 days MBA is coming out this month. Get it right or get out is coming out in another 3 months in the next quarter. It's coming out in the next quarter. But I might look into capacity building and we'll work on that.